Hello, my name is Kyle, and this is a facility condition assessment of the city of Troy, Michigan, for fall 2018. To start, Troy is a city located in the southeast corner of Oakland County, Michigan, within the greater Metro Detroit area. Troy hosts a population of over 83,600 people, as per the 2016 census. Troy itself started as a small farming township, then grew to a large farming township, and officially became a city in 1955. Some about Troy. Upon the establishment as an official city, development and major development immediately began across the entire city. Troy became a thriving center for many different types of businesses, most notably those that dealt with the automotive and financial sectors. Troy was designed from the get go, once it became a city, in a very modernist mentality, focusing on personal automobiles, large sweeping streets, and sprawling subdivisions, essentially promoting what we now know as suburban sprawl. In the later years, Troy also became a mecca for business and shopping within the greater Metro Detroit area, and today is still known to being a very high end shopping city. Troy itself and the greater Oakland County area suffered quite a bit during the recession in 2008 due to the heavy influence of automotive based jobs in the city. However, unlike other cities such as Detroit and Flint, Troy did not suffer as much due to the fact that it didn't have as many industry based jobs linked to the automotive sector. As well, it had a more diverse portfolio than either of the other two cities. One of the things that this assessment went over was various places located throughout the city that were city owned. One of those places being the Troy Historical Village. Troy has a few unique properties about it that really make it stand out from other cities in the Oakland area and in the Michigan area itself. One of these is its own historic village. Troy hosts a village that contains 10 different buildings, including one gazebo, all dating between the 19th and 20th centuries, and really give a really extensive view of life and how it was back before it became a city and in its earlier days. It is also one of the most extensive museums for an individual city in Michigan and even some counties. The reason this was part of the condition assessment is, as one might understand, the upkeep and maintenance on these buildings each year continually rises due to inflation and increased cost of materials and labor. The village receives support from the city as well as many different sponsors and donors. However, the city wanted to know exactly what condition some of these buildings were in and what actions needed to be taken, as well as all the other buildings on the list. So to start, as noted, the restoration and maintenance of these buildings is a little more difficult than in some standard buildings due to their historical nature. Um, to sustain what the city helps put forward is just not enough right now to help sustain these buildings. Many of the maintenance and restoration costs for some of these buildings combined have totaled up to close to, if not at, $500,000. There seems to also be a real disconnect between the city and the village itself in terms of importance, at least from a citizen point of view. However, the village is a key point in the city and that hosts many events year round, is a point of large tourist attraction, and also is a very unique feature for the city as well as Oakland County area in total. Troy Farms is another city owned property that was assessed during this assessment. The farms themselves is the last remaining quote farm in the city. All the buildings on the site are original to the site as it was when it operated as a farm. However, due to the lack of use of this site, many of the buildings have fallen into disrepair, some into a very, very unstable structural state due to lack of maintenance, and their condition is only getting worse. It was the point of the city to assess again how these buildings might fare in coming years and what it would cost to perhaps protect them, maintenance, as well as possibly relocation of them. Some of them to the historic village, however, some of them due to their relatively young age compared to others, as well as their degradative status, it might have been a better option for demolition. The Troy Public Library is another interesting building that was on the assessment list, as well as another interesting building in the city of Troy itself. The library was constructed in the 60s and 80s and has been a very interesting point in Troy voters' minds in recent years. It has been up for debate many times whether the city even needs its own independent library, and if so, should it be remodeled under extensive renovations or demolished and a new one put in its place. The upkeep on the building has started to get very cumbersome, as again it's an older building, and some of the methods of construction are not holding up in modern times as well, and has started to show many signs of aging, as well as the location of the library is such that it is within the area of influence of Troy's new desired downtown redevelopment plan. And while the plan itself was not directly assessed during this assessment, as will be noted later, the library itself will be a major part of the redevelopment, and so the assessment had to take place on the library. Children's Hospital of Troy, while not a part of the assessment, is included in here as well, as it was and still is now a very big point of pride for many citizens in the city. However, it almost did not happen due to some reluctancies within the city government, as well as some few citizen groups of the city, noting that it was too outlandish or even garish in some instances. However, since the owners won the battle and were able to construct it here, it has earned nothing but high praise from both citizens and outsiders alike. The City of Troy Downtown Development Plan, again, as noted, while not part of the official assessment condition, it was a major overarching theme of it, as many of the buildings that were on the assessment list, as all of them were city owned, many of them will be within the direct sphere of influence of this downtown development. The plan focuses on infill with lingering emphasis on higher end shopping, eating, and living. The plan, which has received praise, at least on a paper level, has come under much fire and backlash from many citizens due to its rapid development and seemingly failure of inclusive nature, as well as the fact of what happens to many of the existing buildings, which was another big force behind the initial facility condition assessment. In conclusion, the City of Troy Downtown Development Plan, while not part of the official assessment, had a large sphere of influence on many of the surrounding buildings of the area that were part of the assessment. And so the assessment itself was used to understand the buildings, their current condition, what it might cost to upkeep and maintain them, or what it might cost to construct new buildings in their place. The city, for being developed in a modernist sense and not really taking much interest in newer city development until recently, has a lot of catching up to do to other cities. Many of the young adults of Troy have been moving out to surrounding cities because of various reasons, and Troy needs to keep its population base higher to help support it. Troy itself is in need of a solution in order to prevent further increase in cost of maintenance due to inflation and potential further deterioration to city buildings and other infrastructure, as well as to help retain a populace. Hopefully, through this facility condition assessment, Troy is better able to understand their current predicament and situation, as well as to help more appropriately plan a path to the future. Once again, I've been Kyle, and this has been a facility condition assessment for the City of Troy, Michigan, 2018. Thank you.